first mass-produced 60% keyboard by Razer is finally here. Lo and behold, the Razer Huntsman Mini, their newest addition to their Razer Huntsman line, and by far the most compact keyboard that they have made. Whether you're a die-hard gamer or just a casual fragger, this keyboard has something for everyone. Double-shot PBT keycaps, lightning-fast Gen 2 optomechanical switches, an aluminum backplate. This keyboard has something for everyone, so you would probably want to stick around. Over the next 5 or 6 minutes, we are going to go in depth into this keyboard and have a comprehensive review over everything that this keyboard has to offer, and dissect everything from pros and cons to its price as well as its main features. So let's dive right in. So, over the past few years, we've seen, especially in the gaming community, a shift from bigger keyboards to more compact keyboards, especially towards the 60% form factor. Now, you might ask, why is that? Why 60%? Why not a bigger keyboard with your numpad and your function keys and all of that? Well, the main reason that people have switched to 60% is that it's more compact. So not only is it easier to transport and it looks sleeker if you have, for example, a minimalist design. It also gives you, a very, if you have a big mouse pad, it gives you more room for mousing, and it's actually better for ergonomics. So if you want to see, with the regular keyboard, I would have about this much space for mousing, right? With the Huntsman Mini, I have an entire arm's length to mouse with my mouse. So if you have any DPI which is low, or you play Counter-Strike, you got some crazy arm swipes going around, this keyboard allows you more room for that. Other than that, some of the notable features, or the most notable feature about this keyboard, is the new Gen 2 improved linear switches. So this keyboard obviously comes in two different variants: the clicky optomechanical switches, which is better known as the purple switches, which was first introduced in the Huntsman Elite, or the second ones, which are the linear red optomechanical switches, which is actually what I have here, as you can see. These were first introduced in the Huntsman 10 keyless, or the Huntsman 65% keyboard, and while it was a good addition, there was a problem with it, where every time someone would bottom out on the key, you would hear a pinging noise. So Razer, they took the feedback from the community, which is a great thing to hear, that they're taking feedback from community and working on that. They improved these new linear switches. So now all switches are factory lubricated, which makes them smoother and more silent. And each switch has a silicone dampener inside the switch itself, which is, I think, something that's a little more unique, because usually you have a felt carpet underneath the board. So that has reduced the pinging noise, and there's quite a big difference. Well, some of the other notable features of this board are the addition of the new PBT keycaps, which are a higher grade of keycap. They're higher grade plastic, they're a little bit thicker, and they are also coarser. So that means they won't wear out over time because they're higher grade. They don't get any of that disgusting shine that you get on ABS keycaps if you use them for a long time. And also, since they're double-shot PBT, there's no way you can scratch the legends off of any of these keys. So if I were to take one of these out right here, like this guy, the escape key, if we look here, if you look at the back, this legend is actually a second layer of white plastic underneath the black. So, in terms of durability, there's no way that you can scratch this legend off, which is great for durability, as I said, because that means these keycaps will last a lot longer. So that's great in terms of long-term use for people, and I like that Razer is taking a turn towards durability. Other than that, I also wanted to talk about the USB-C connectivity. So inside the box, you get a braided USB-C to USB-A cable. So the USB-A goes into your PC and the USB-C goes into your keyboard. Another thing I wanted to touch on about the USB-C, as we saw a trend in durability for the board, their stock USB-C actually has female grooves that correspond to male grooves on the board. So that prevents bending of the USB connector and prevents it from breaking, which is another step towards the right direction I think Razer is taking. But if any of you have your own custom USB-C cables, they will all also work on this, like a coiled cable or a paracord cable that some people have for their custom keyboards. that will also work on this board. So I also want to touch up on the RGB. In true Razer fashion, the RGB is pretty vibrant, especially in the dark. As you can see, the RGB, it's not too over the top. At the same time, it's not too subtle either, which is something that I really like about this board. Is the RGB is implemented very tastefully. So it's on the keys and it's slightly, around the keys, but it's not anything crazy like shine through switches or anything. So I do like that. In addition to that, if those of you who like RGB all over their keyboard, so you can use any type of pudding keycaps on this board. It has an MX stem, so like HyperX's pudding keycaps work on this. And Razer actually just released their own translucent I guess you could say it's like a semi-pudding keyboard or keycap, which they call their phantom switches. So it also allows for a slight illumination of the keys. But overall, I think even with the normal keys, that the RGB looks really nice. So if you are an RGB fan, I'm pretty sure you won't be disappointed. And other than that, we also have an aluminum backplate for a sturdy build. So you have minimum deck flex, as you can see. And we also have a plastic body with in traditional Razer fashion. We have "For Gamers by Gamers" embossed along the bottom, which is kind of nice. And in addition to that, we also have 4 rubber feet so that this keyboard's not, sliding around on your table. And we also have 2 height adjustable feet in case you want an inclination to your board. So at 6 degrees, which are actually these ones right here, and at 9 degrees, which are the bigger ones here. So if you prefer an inclination to when you game or when you type, you have that option as well. Now moving on to some of the pros of this board. Obviously the switches are very fast. They actuate at, the switches, linear ones actuate at 1.2 millimeters and require only 40 grams of actuation force, whereas the clicky switches, they actuate at 1.5 millimeters with 45 grams of actuation force. So yeah, they're pretty responsive, pretty quick. You can get your inputs in pretty quickly. And in addition to that, Razer also boasts that these switches, being optomechanical, due to reduction in movement of metallic parts, are rated for 100 million keystrokes, which is double of what usual mechanical switches are rated for. And so yeah, that's about the switches. And some cons I would like to express are the fact that once you, especially on the linear switch, because it actuates so quickly, it takes some time to get used to. Sometimes when I'm playing a game, the weight of my finger actually might accidentally press a key, actuate a key. So for example, if you're playing Warzone, I have my crouch bound to shift. So many times when I'm playing Warzone, I'm in an intense fight. When I first got the keyboard, I accidentally sometimes press crouch and I'm trying to get out of the fight, and my guy is probably walking around the ground like a freaking crap. So it is a steep learning curve because the keys are so sensitive. Other than that, I also don't like the implementation of synapse, because while the keyboard has 7 onboard profiles, you can't like save your own profiles to the board. So if you, for example, want to keep your own RGB profiles on someone else's computer, like if you're taking your keyboard to a LAN party or someplace, or you're going over to a friend's house to play, you're going to have to download Synapse on their computer, and you're going to have to log in with your account for your RGB effects to be implemented on the board, which is something I don't like. However, I hope that Razer is going to work on that soon, but I'm not 100% sure. So rounding up the pros and the cons, let's talk about price. So it is a little bit on the pricey side. It's a more premium keyboard than most. It comes in at $120 or $119.99 for the clicky switch, and $130 or $129.99 for the linear switch, the US dollars. So while it is on the pricey side, I do think it is worth it. It's a very nice board, and it allows most people to get into the 60% space without going custom or trying to get too expensive or anything. So It's a great place for beginners to start, definitely a solid board, and I do think that this would be a recommendation for me to anyone, whether you're just a casual gamer or diehard gamer or anything. So yeah, overall, a very solid board, very nice board. I've had no problems with it so far. I've had a very great time with it. A little bit of a steep learning curve, but yeah, the Razer Huntsman Mini has been probably one of the greatest boards I've owned till date. So definitely would recommend.